Stay sasatadeve Olavasi Pachavine Nivisesa Samyavadi Asyatati Satavine Krishna Kshetra Swami Yatra Sampora Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Kṛṣna Hare Ram Rama Rama Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There's probably a Srimad-Bhagavatam somewhere here. Yeah, you can leave it here, I think. No. Okay. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. Supramatam. Guten Morgen, Dzień dobry. Today we're reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life. And verse number 29. Yes, 29. Yatra. Okay. Oh, right. Yatra, yatra, harer, arcā. Yatra, yatra, harer, arcā. Sadeśaḥ śreyasāṁ padam. Sadeśaḥ śreyasāṁ padam. Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ. Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ. Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ. Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ. Yatra yatra harer arcā. Sadeśaḥ śreyasāṁ padam. Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ. Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
śreyasāṁ padam. yatra harer arcā.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Yatra yatra harer arcā.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Sadisha śreyasāṁ padam.
Gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ.
Yatra gaṅgādayo nadyaḥ. Purāṇeṣu ca viśrutāḥ.
Okay, what's it mean? Yatra yatra. Wherever. There's some water. In Sanskrit, we have what's a relative, correlative. So there's yatra and tatra. Yatra is the indefinite, somewhere, and tatra is there. We have also yada, some when, sometime, and tada, then. Tada! Yes. So yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, right? Whenever there is a diminishing of dharma, at that time the Lord appears. Okay. Hareḥ of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Krishna. Arcā. The deity is worshipped. Saha. That. Deśaḥ. Place. Country. Or neighborhood. Śreyasāṁ. Of all auspiciousness. Padam, the place. Yatra, wherever. Gaṅgā-ādayaḥ, like the Ganges, Yamunā, Narmadā and Kāverī. The pujaris know this mantra. Gaṅgā ca Yamunā chaiva Godavari Sarasvati Narmade Sindhu Kāverī Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. What means Sannidhim Kuru? Oh, you pujaris who chant this mantra every day. Yes. Yes, very good. And kuru, we talked last time about the imperative form of verbs, so kuru is another imperative. So it's kind of in a polite way. Come, actually do, make assembly, you could say. Okay. So gaṅgādayo, nadyaḥ, sacred rivers, purāṇeṣu, in the Purāṇas, supplementary Vedic literature. Cha, also, viśrutāḥ, are celebrated. Mm-hmm. So, viśrutāḥ, we know Shruti. What is Shruti? Hmm? Shruti, Smriti. That which is heard, yes. And Shruta is heard, and viśrutāḥ is not only heard, but celebrated. Okay, translation and somewhat long purport by Srila Prabhupada. Auspicious indeed are the places where there is a temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in which he is duly worshipped, and also the places where there flow the celebrated sacred rivers mentioned in the Purāṇas, the supplementary Vedic literatures. Anything spiritual done there is certainly very effective. This last sentence is a kind of purport Prabhupada adds. We could say it's extending the word śreyasāṁ, auspicious. Okay, purport. There are many atheists who oppose the worship of the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the temple. In this verse, however, it is authoritatively stated that any place where the deity is worshipped is transcendental. It does not belong to the material world. It is also said that the forest is in the mode of goodness, and therefore those who want to cultivate spiritual life are advised to go to the forest. Vanam gato yat dharim ashrayeta. Prabhupada is quoting from earlier in the 7th canto. Anyone recognize who said that? To whom? Yes, Prahlad spoke to his dear father, suggesting that he go to the forest. Specifically, which forest? Vrindavan. It's in Prabhupada's, I think it's in the word, no, it's in the translation. Specifically, go to Vrindavan. But one should not go to the forest simply to live like a monkey. Monkeys and other ferocious animals also live in the forest, but a person who goes to the forest for spiritual culture must accept the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as shelter. Vanam gato yat dharim ashrayeta. Again, he quotes. One should not be satisfied simply to go to the forest. One must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says it twice to emphasize. In this age, therefore, since it is impossible to go to the forest for spiritual culture, one is recommended to live in the temple community as a devotee, regularly worship the deity, follow the regulative principles, and thus make the place like Vaikunṭha. The forest may be in goodness, the cities and villages in passion, and the brothels, hotels, and restaurants in ignorance. But when one lives in the temple community, he lives in Vaikuntha. Therefore it is said here, śreyasāṁ padam. It is the best, most auspicious place. Prabhupada mentioning brothels, hotels, restaurants are in ignorance. I can understand why. Some years ago, some of us made a retreat. We started in Bhubaneswara and went to Puri, and then we traveled gradually north, sort of the reverse route that Mahaprabhu took. He took from Navadvip, we took to Navadvip, Mayapur. And so in Bhubaneswar, we stayed overnight right next to the temple, the ISKCON temple in Bhubaneswar. There's a hotel, and we stayed in the hotel. It was practical. And the next morning I went to the temple, and we went to the temple, and one of the brahmacharis asked me, where did you stay this night? And I said, we just stayed here in the hotel next door. What? He was shocked, thoroughly shocked. Stay at a hotel. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know what he thinks of us. In many places throughout the world, we are constructing communities to give shelter to devotees and worship the deity in the temple. The deity cannot be worshipped except by devotees. Temple worshippers who fail to give importance to the devotees are third class. They are kanishta adhikaris in the lower stage of spiritual life. As it is said in Srimad-Bhagavatam 11.247, arcāyam eva haraye pujam ya śraddhaye hate natat bhakteshu chanyeshu sad bhakta prakrita smrita. A person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but does not know how to behave toward devotees or people in general, is called a prakrita bhakta, or kanishta adhikari. Therefore, in the temple there must be the deity of the Lord, and the Lord should be worshipped by the devotees. This combination of the devotees and the deity creates a first-class transcendental place. So it's interesting how Prabhupada has brought together 2 points which could be considered kind of opposed. He's speaking about deity worship. He quotes from the Bhagavatam where it says, Archanam is the activity of the third-class devotees, the beginners. But why are they third class? It's because they are not recognizing the devotees in the same way they're recognizing the Lord. The verse, either before or after this, it says, what is it? Ishvare tat adineshu balisheshu dvishatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yataroti sa madhyama. The madhyama adhikari is the one who recognizes the Lord Ishvara and expresses or feels prema toward the Lord. Ishvare tat adineshu, and to the devotees, the devotee cultivates maitri, prema maitri, and kripa is the feeling and the type of behavior toward the balisheshu, unto those among those who are innocent yeah, basically innocent. Literally children, but meaning innocent. And dvesha, the relation to those who are inimical, is one is indifferent. Prema maitri kripa upeksha. Upeksha can mean having equilibrium, indifference, which is neither negative nor positive. It's just neutral, completely okay. You're not interested in Krishna bhakti. Next life, whatever. But it's interesting here. Prabhupada is saying the combination of devotees, deity and devotees, makes for a first class. He uses the word first class. It's a first class transcendental place. So, congratulations, you are presently in a first class transcendental place. Aside from this, if a grihastha devotee worships the Shalagram Shila, or the form of the deity at home, his home also becomes a very great place. I was in Vrindavan, this was several years ago. I was doing this sort of academic research on the Radharaman temple. I spent some months living very close, and I got to know some of the priests, and one of the priests I came to know is worshipping Shalagram Shila at home. And I asked him, he spoke quite good English, I asked him, would he mind, could I come to his home and observe how he worships Shalagram Shila? And he said, yeah, sure, come on. So next day I came, and he started to make his arrangement for the worship, and he said, actually, usually it's my mother who does the worship, but okay, you want to watch, so I will do the worship. And then he sat down and he said, actually, I'm left-handed. So I do all the worship left-handed. What can I do? And he proceeded to, I'm also left-handed, but when I do the worship, I do it right-handed. Anyway, it was kind of funny to... He was quite casual about the whole thing. It was sweet. It was therefore customary for members of the three higher classes, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, to worship the Shalagram Shila, or a small deity of Radha Krishna, or Sita Rama, in each and every home. This made everything auspicious. But now they have given up the deity worship. Men have become modernized and are consequently indulging in all sorts of sinful activities, and therefore they are extremely unhappy. According to Vedic civilization, therefore, the holy places of pilgrimage are considered most sacred. And still, there are hundreds and thousands of holy places, like Jagannath Puri, Vrindavan, Hardwar, Rameshwar, Prayag, and Mathura. Speaking of Rameshwar, has anyone been in Rameshwar in South India? You've been? Did you take the, was it 21 or 22 baths in the 22 tirthas within the temple?
Not completely.
No. So within the temple compound, it's quite a large temple, which is an interesting temple because it's frequented both by Vaishnavas and Shaivites. because it's the place of Shiva that Lord Rama worshipped. So within the compound there are 21 or 22 tirthas. What are these tirthas? They are water sources, they're wells. And we were informed when I went to visit there that you should bathe in all of the tirthas. How do you do that? You give 5 rupees to a young man who is just wearing a gamcha, and he takes a small bucket on a rope, and he leads you around from one tirtha to the other, and he lowers the rope and fills up the bucket, and he throws it over your head. Splash! And you go to the next tirtha, and he does the same thing. Splash! And the next tirtha. Splash! 21 or 22 times, and afterwards you feel really clean. And then you can go in and have darshan of the deity. And you feel, we say in English, squeaky clean. Okay, Rameshwar, Prayaga, and Mathura. Prayaga became, in the time of Muslim rule, it became Ahmedabad. It's now been renamed Prayag Raj. And Mathura is mentioned. India is the place for worshipping or for cultivating spiritual life. The Krishna consciousness movement invites everyone from all over the world, without discrimination, as to caste or creed, to come to its centers and cultivate spiritual life perfectly. I thought he was going to say, come to India, but he doesn't. He says, come to our centers. Speaking of all castes and creeds, I'm just now remembering one of my examiners for my master's thesis, very sweet man, forget his first name now, Foster. He is, I don't know if he's still alive, Christian, and he was baptized by one of his colleagues in the Ganga. Yeah. So ends Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse. Auspicious indeed are the places where there is a temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in which he is duly worshipped, and also the places where there flow the celebrated sacred rivers mentioned in the Purāṇas, supplementary Vedic literatures. Anything spiritual done there is certainly very effective. So I understand here you have both the Ganga and the Yamunā, and you have the confluence, must be if you have both, yes. And you have Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan, and Sri Sri Gauranitai, and you have Giriraj here, and devotees. So everything is auspicious. However, I hear that sometimes devotees are not coming so often to the temple, and one wonders why. Well, there can be lots of reasons. Prabhupada mentions in this purport community. It's not only about the place, it's about the community. And I think this is the big challenge, isn't it? Developing, maintaining community. And community is a rather elusive term. What do we mean by community? And maybe we can ask, if you like, we can explore this a little bit. When we hear the word community, What immediately comes to mind? Anyone want to say? Just a kind of free association, the word. Yes.
A group of people who mutually support each other.
A group of people who mutually support each other. Good, thank you. And? Zusammenkommen. Okay. Yeah, they come together at football games also. I suppose that's also a kind of community. Yes?
Yeah, for me it's like community is there if there's the same goal, there's the same center.
Uh-huh. And in our case, we might have the same goal and service of what? Oh! Oh yes! Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. To serve Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Good. Any others? Adi Shesha Prabhu?
I think it's already said.
Everything is already said. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
On one hand, like she said, I have to bring in my capacity, but at the same time, it's also a place, or the community is a place to grow, to learn from each other, and to accept others how they are, but also to, for myself, a mirror. What can I learn?
Very good. Yes. Yes.
Also very important that there are individuals
Uh-huh.
who come together.
Yes.
We are zombies who are the same style, whatever, so everyone has a free will, a free kind of thinking and living, but also there is something what gives us a feeling that we are a community.
Yeah. There's a kind of paradox in a way, isn't it? There's some sort of oneness, and there's also the difference, and if you try to remove either the oneness or the difference, what do you have, right? And I think there's a complementarity between what you're both saying. The growing is there because of the difference also, isn't it? And the aim, the goal is common for all, and so the unity is in that goal, in that purpose. Any other thoughts? Yes?
I see community like extended family. And
Extended family.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a family for me is the place where members of the family accept each other as they are, because we're all very different and sometimes difficult, but because we are family, we just accept each other.
Mm-hmm. Because we have to.
No,
No.
we are family.
We're a family. Yes.
We don't have to, but we want.
Yeah. And that means there can be quite intense differences sometimes, but in the end, okay, we just keep going together, right? Yes.
Yeah, for me, a good functioning community has also some kind of flexibility and is always eager to embrace newcomers and welcome new persons also to be part of the community, and is placed in an environment where, and in this environment also, the wisdom or spreads also in the outside.
Good. So this, you're tying it into what we might want to think of as mission. So we're not a completely closed off, insular bubble, but there's an openness, and there's a sense of we want to attract others to also participate in the community. I think this is an important point because people are looking for shelter, and they're people's antennas are out, is this a viable community in which I could feel that I belong? The sense of belonging, which goes also with the notion of family, is there. So if people don't feel that this is a real community with all these dynamics that you've brought up, then they'll say, okay, very nice, and they'll go somewhere else. Yes, and I think you had a...
Yes, it's also positive what is said, but there's also speaking about others in this in communities.
Speaking about,
Yes.
about
Speaking
others.
about other persons. It's not positive, but it's there.
I'm not exactly catching the point, but...
Prajalpa.
Oh, Prajalpa. Oh, so Gramya Katha. Okay. Yes, that can be... There's two energies. There's, in physics, there's centrifugal force and there's centripetal force. Centrifugal force, which one is which? One is a force which brings together, and one is a force that spreads apart. I remember years ago in Germany, in German temples, we always had a Schleudermaschine for our wash, you know, and they would get a lot of use, and they would always break down very soon after, because we would, I don't know, but so this Schleudern, this tendency to fall apart. The Schleudermaschine was to get the water out of your clothes. That tendency is very much propelled when when we're not careful with our speech. And so I would like to say something about that. We have in the Bhagavad Gita, anudvega karang bhakyam satyam priyahitam chayat svadhyaya bhyasanam chaiva anmayam tapa uchyate. The austerity of speech in the mode of goodness is anudvega karam vakyam, words which are not harsh, which are not disturbing unnecessarily. Sometimes we need to speak disturbing words necessarily. Satyam, they are true words. And priyahita, they have the purpose, the hita, of being beneficial for others. And along with this is svadhyaya. What is svadhyaya? You know this word? Yes.
Like learning about like the scriptures or like reading?
Yes, it can include reading. It can mean. It can also mean. It can mean svadhyaya, so meditation, personal meditation. It can mean, or self-study, study of literature. It can mean studying that part of Vedic literature which one has received in disciplic succession. A lot of various meanings, but it has to do with self-study. It's being self-reflective, with the help of Shastra, especially. Svadhyaya abhyasanam, so practicing this. This is all part of the austerity of speech. And where this austerity breaks down is in prajalpa, and prajalpa is especially where we break confidence. Krishna says, no, Rupa Goswami says. He says, what does he say? He says, dadati pratigrinati guhyam akyati prichati bhunkte bojayate chaiva shatvidha priti lakshana. 6 sorts of activities of exchange amongst devotees are loving exchanges, priti laksh. They have the lakshana, the characteristic of being loving, priti. And the second 2 of these are guhyam akyati, prichati. So guhya means something private, something hidden, something confidential, and akyati is speaking, and prichati means asking. Now, the speaking in confidence means it has to stay confidential. If someone speaks something confidentially to me, it has to end with me. I now have a responsibility not to share that with anyone else, unless the person who has told me specifically says, you can share this with a specific other or with anyone, it's fine with me. And that's sometimes quite challenging, to not say something that someone has confided in us. But it's really necessary, because without that, we lose trust. And where we lose trust, we destroy community. So I would suggest that this is a very important principle that we try to practice. We are all, as conditioned souls, we make mistakes, but we can try to control this. And then there can be very nice community. Okay, that was a bit on community. Now I wanted to suggest, Prabhupada is speaking about the temple as an auspicious place, and one form of the temple is the heart. Hridaya Mandire. So in this song from Narottam Das Thakur, Gauranga Karuna Koro, in the second verse, Dante Trinadhori Gora, Daki He Tumar, Kripa Kori Esho Amar, Hridaya Mandire. Holding grass between my teeth, O Lord Gora, I am calling out to you now. Please be compassionate upon me and come to reside within the temple of my heart. So it's a kind of invitation. O Lord, you are here, you are in the temple, now kindly also reside in the mandira of my hridaya. Hridaya mandire. That's nice, isn't it? No. Yes? No. Yes? No? Maybe. Maybe. And finally, I want to share with you, this is a book written by one devotee in Bosnia. His name is Darpahari Prabhu. I haven't seen him for many years. He's a very thoughtful person, and he writes very thoughtfully, and he's written a book which is called Morning Bath, or in Bosnian, Jutarnje Kupanje. And this is a dual language book. You know this book? Pujaris should all have this book. It's very nice. This is a meditation, an extended meditation on worship of Sri Sri Gaur Nitai. So I would like to read one short section of this, if I may. May I?
Yes.
Okay. This is called Deity Room, which translates Deity Room. Okay. Deity Room, next to the altar. You cannot separate them. The heart and the soul of each and every temple. And in the heart, the spirit soul and the super soul. And in the heart, Sri Sri Gaur Nitai and I myself. Deity room. How clean and spotless it is. I cast, now that's a question. How clean and spotless is it? I cast a final glance on the prepared paraphernalia. Everything shines. Everything is there. But what about the spiders' webs in the corners and dust on the shelves? Spiders and centipedes, is it okay to have them there? A heart. How clean and spotless is it? A little. The spiders of doubts spread their webs. The centipedes of material desires are in every corner. O Gauranga, my dearest Lord, the deity room I'll clean easily, but what shall I do with my heart? What shall I do with the venomous snakes of pride and egoism, with the poisonous scorpions of jealousy and selfishness? What shall I do with the black serpents of waspiciousness and cynicism? Please help me, please. Cheto darpana marjanam, param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, congregational chanting of Krishna's holy name, which cleanses the heart and extinguishes the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then he has at the end a sort of haiku. Early in the morning, the happy servant sings his heart out. Okay, so I think I can stop with that. A few thoughts for you. And we didn't talk about rivers. Yes, we did. We talked about the Yamunā and Ganga. And we did the invocation. It's a nice mantra to learn. Before the pujari, before the making of Achman, he or she invokes not one, not two, not three, but 7 rivers into the water. That's really auspicious. Gaṅgā-ādayaḥ, Yamunā chaiva, Godavari, Sarasvati, Narmadā, Sindhu, Kāverī, Jale asmin sannidhim kuru. Yes. Hare Krishna. Any further thoughts, reflections? Yes.
Yes, Prabhupada mentioned there in the end of the program that the temple should be open for new people, for visitors. But if one lives in a temple and worship the deity, especially as a pujari, then may one think that can be a disturbance if new people are coming. What do you think about it?
I think if we make that our general feeling when new people come, then there's a problem. Of course, there may be particular persons who are a problem. There may be particular times that could be a problem. If someone comes in the middle of the night, or whatever, that could be a problem. But in general, I think we want to keep the culture of being a mission as in the forefront of our practice. There is, of course, need to also withdraw. All of us need downtime. We say in English, downtime. So we all need to have time for ourselves. We need some space for ourselves. Otherwise, we lose our orientation and so on. We need svadhyaya, actually. But I think this is one thing we need to keep in balance. One place I visited so many years ago in Kathmandu, I visited one family. It was a Brahmin family of the Nimbarka Sampradaya, and I was recommended to visit and meet the father as someone expert on Shalagram Shilas. So I went, and I was so impressed. They had it was a home temple, which was a neighborhood temple. The neighbors were coming, and some were helping out with this. It was amazing to see the family. The children were there. They were also engaged. Everyone. It was a kind of picture postcard image of the ideal neighborhood temple. And I've always remembered that and thought, yes, that's what is wanted. So it was a neighborhood temple. It wasn't, a greater public temple so much, but it was the people on the street, I suppose, maybe, I don't know who else was coming. I'm just thinking aloud, there's a small, Prabhupada mentions how each householder will have their home deity. Also in Vrindavan, just a few steps from the Radha Vallabha temple, which is a quite large temple which most ISKCON devotees are not aware of. They have very beautiful worship of Radha Vallabha. It's a different sampradaya. It's Hitarivamsh is their founder acharya, and they have some interesting philosophical variations, which Radhanath Swami said to me, "It's sweet, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." But when I went there, they were very nice to me. The priest was very open to talking with him, and they offered me tambula. Maha tambula. Anyway, so a few steps from there was a temple, forget the name, Yashoda, something with Yashoda. Anyway, they had Radha Krishna. It was a family temple, but it was right there on the road. And, a few people, I think it was locals, really, only, who were visiting that temple, because they weren't sort of advertising themselves. But such a sweet temple. I don't know what to say. It was just it was open, but there was an intimacy there. It was very sweet. And I went there one day, and they have the Utsav deities, small Radha Krishna, and then behind them were the larger, I think both were metal deities. And one day I came, and they had made an arrangement. They had like part of a tree with branches set up, and they had put the small Radha Krishna, I think both Radha Krishna, in the tree, and they were celebrating, was it Vastraharana Leela or something they were celebrating. But it was so nice. It was just really nice. So I don't know if I can say anything definitive to your to your point. You obviously have some thought in mind of your experience, and I don't know what that is, so I can't really say something general to it, except that we are a mission, so there is a public, there's a public dimension to what we're about. And Prabhupada is inviting everyone here. You mentioned the Krishna consciousness movement invites everyone from all over the world without discrimination as to caste or creed to come to its centers and cultivate spiritual life perfectly. So, what to do with that? Is that all right? Not really. Yes? No? Okay?
Yes, I'm thinking that is our mission, as Prabhupada often said, kara para upakara. Those who are inclined with this Vedic culture, they should serve others.
Mm-hmm.
That Prabhupada very often quoted this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, but the other point can be, well, they are not pure, they are doing all kind of odd things. Why should they come to us? Because, and then they disturb us because we are in a worship and we are inclined with certain kinds of activities to purify our body, our mind, our consciousness. Mm-hmm. So that might be a disturbance for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is the context.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess there are different levels of engagement, and one has to see how to arrange so that people can be benefited and the devotees are not disturbed and not contaminated. It's a kind of, it's a balancing act. It's an ongoing challenge. Yes?
Yeah, you spoke about how there should be a self-study. And I was thinking, for me, it's like, what is the purpose of the self-study? So I was thinking, should I become learned? Should I learn Sanskrit verses? Should I? But in the end, I found that my main experience is that I'm actually taking Srila Prabhupada's association, and that's what I'm going for.
Great.
So can you speak about this? What should one has like a goal for this self-study?
What would be the goal of self-study? Certainly the goal, well, we can put it in many different ways, no doubt, but certainly the goal is to purify the heart, to invite Krishna to be in the temple of the heart and to stay there. Soul and super soul. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukadukeshu tata mana pamanayaho. In the 6th chapter of the Gita, one who has conquered the mind, Jita, has already reached the super soul, it says. So we can think of svadhyaya in terms of as a practice of conquering the mind, so to say. And then what would the aim of that be? We can say it's to connect, which is yoga, with the Lord, who is Paramatma in the heart. That's what comes to mind right now. How are we doing that? Well, Srila Prabhupada, there's Chaitya Guru and there's Guru, and he is speaking on behalf, we can say, of Paramatma. So when we're reading, we can think, okay, it's let me listen as if I'm hearing Paramatma in my heart. That can be one kind of meditation when reading and hearing. Is that all right? Good. Whoops. More. Yes.
Thank you for the question. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that krsna-adhikaris, they have faith in the deity, or they are faithfully worshipping the deity.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, what does that mean? And also he says that Kanishta-adhikaris don't know how to behave towards devotees.
Right.
So
what kind of faith?
Prerequisite that one has to have faith in the deity first to be able to.
That's interesting. It doesn't say that. Of course, Rupa Goswami gives this sort of ladder of progression that begins with faith. Ado Shraddha, right? Ado Shraddha tata sadhu sango ataha. Having some faith, then there's association with devotees, which would suggest kind of reverse. So what sort of faith is this that is described here? Archayam eva haraye pujam ya shraddhaye hate. Shraddha iha ihate. This, I think we would have to understand it to be a very unripe, a very minimal kind, or a kind of even material faith. I'll worship the deity because I'm going to get some result from it. And of course, Krishna says in the Gita, Sattvanurupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata shraddha mayo yang purusho yo yat shraddha sa eva sa. That Shraddha Maya, we are all constituted of Shraddha Maya. But, and then he goes on to speak the 17th chapter, which is all about Shraddha in the different modes of nature. So Shraddha is there. The atheist is full of Shraddha. But what is the atheist, where is their Shraddha placed? It's placed in the conviction, the belief that there is no God, that I am God, you are God, whatever. So I think this kind of Shraddha mentioned here, we'd have to say is an immature faith, because if there's no attention, no care, if there's neglect of the bhaktas, they didn't get it yet, right? Yeah. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham mat anyate na jananti naham tevyo managapi. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, or Vishnu, or Narayan, says that the sadhus are my heart, and I am in their heart, and they are in my heart, and I know no one but them, and they know no one but me. So that's apparently not understood by this Kanishta Adi Prakrita Bhakta. Yeah. Yes, you had.
I hope it's a short question.
A short question. Sometimes have long answers or no answers. Okay.
You spoke about Narottam Das Thakur talking about the Hridaya Mandir, the temple of the heart.
Yeah.
And also here the temple of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious because in different cultures they refer to the mind and the heart interchangeably.
Yes, in Chinese culture it's very much.
I was curious what the Shastras say about it.
Well, it depends how you... Yeah. There's different philosophical systems, the different darshanas, and they may sort of parse different terminology and different words. In the yoga shastras, like Patanjali Yoga Shastra, there's two different terms. There's chitta and there's manas. And manas is kind of more specifically the mind. And chitta is more of an umbrella term that includes the mind, manas, buddhi, and ahankara, and sometimes antakarana. So in this case, may my mind be a temple of the Lord. One would want to look and see which word is being translated as mind. If it's chitta, then I would say, well, that's actually heart. Okay. One more, maybe. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have two practical beginners questions. With Ajman water, there's also available in the shops just a blue bottle with holy water, the gaṅgā water.
Yeah.
What should I prefer? To invoke the holy rivers with a mantra, or to use a drop of this water? Is it the same, or I don't know.
Well, I must say, this is the first time I've had this question. I would say, which of these two options has more of your faith? Go by your own sense of, if you feel like, this is the real thing, Ganga water. Then that's fine. Okay.
The second question is, I've learned last year at Narmadā and Kāverī's Deity worship course, this Gaunitai worship with these 16 upacharas. And at the beginning I tried to maintain it every Ekadashi, and I had to give up this because of time, and I did it every month, and now I did it yesterday since a lot of months. And how is it? Is it okay if we don't have a regular schedule because it takes around 3 hours of this kind of worship? Or is it, should I have a regular schedule, or is it okay if some opportunity opens up to do it, or how is it with Gaunitai?
Gaunitai are very flexible, I think. Especially it's your home deities. Yeah. So I like to think of home deities as expansions of the temple deities. In the temple, they're getting their regular, quite strict worship. And home deities are, as expansions, they're happy to receive whatever service you can give. And at the same time, you want to care for them nicely because they are, they're like honored guests in your home, and you don't want them to run away because you're neglecting them. So, when you do care for them nicely as best you can, when you can. And they understand they're not like the deity in the temple who is understood to be like the king on his throne who has demands for his subjects. Rather, the deity in the home is a guest, an honored guest, but guests in the home are not demanding, or they shouldn't be demanding. They should be graciously accepting whatever is offered to them. That's the understanding I've been told. Right, on that note, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande.